One nation, one automobile standard. Trump just tweeted, and it's against the auto industry. And I'm going to translate that for you. If you want to hear more, stay right with us. Welcome back to the channel. This is 4 Minute Friday, and I'm Lauren Fix. And here's what's going on in your automotive world. This week's show is brought to you by wheelwish.com. It's Priceline for cars. Save money, save time, and buy it online. So it seems as though President Trump has sent out some pretty strong tweets that has impacted the auto industry. And there's been a few things in the auto industry that I want to talk about, starting with the fact that California and their corporate average fuel economy. Now, you may think that doesn't affect you because you live in another state, but actually it does. If California is calling the shots for the other 49 states, in other words, they're setting the corporate average fuel economy, how many electric vehicles that you need to purchase, and a lot of regulations that cost you money anytime you purchase a new car, then you need to know about it. Think about this. You're paying about $3,000 extra per car because California regulators are actually controlling what the other 49 states are doing. Now, 12 or 13 of those states have signed on to those California emissions, demanding that people purchase EVs, demanding that you use that $7,500 tax credit. And some states like New York and Colorado have offered additional incentives to get you to buy a car. I've heard people paying as little as $9,000 to buy a Bolt EV. Well, that may be great, but who's buying those cars? People that have the money to purchase a new car, when California's initiative is to totally remove all internal combustion engines. That means no diesel, no gas. Well, that may be fine if you live in big cities like San Francisco. But if you live out in the suburbs or way even out further, remember California has deserts, you can't live off of electricity because that extra sun, because it gets very hot out there, reduces the battery life. You can't charge up quickly, and it's an inconvenience not just for people, but to get things from place to place. That's not just people, but that's also goods. So why you think electric vehicles are such a great thing, I've said before, we've got this battery situation when you talk cradle to grave. The cost of what it takes to take the raw materials for a battery all the way to the time of the end of the life of that battery and all its components is more harm to the environment than an internal combustion engine, which is about 90% or more recyclable depending on the brand. Some companies are using recyclable materials, and that is a good thing. Why is President Trump putting out tweets against the CEO of Ford and GM? Well, actually, four manufacturers, BMW, Toyota, Ford, and Honda, have said they're going to sign on to the new supposed tight agreement that California is going to put on those manufacturers because they're sheep. They're going to follow the herd. They're not going to make it better for you, the consumer. They're going to charge you more. Now, if they meet that 54.5 mile per gallon standard that President Obama put into place, that could present a problem. That means cars will get lighter, they'll be more electric, and they're also going to cost you more, and lighter is not necessarily safer. The cars on the road today are very safe, and they're being crash tested by IIHS and NHTSA, so we can find out what's a safer car and what's not the best choice for our family. But the fact is, if cars get more expensive, people that have the old polluting cars are less likely to trade in their vehicles because they can't afford it, and that also means insurance prices are higher. Again, the government is thinking, oh, don't worry about that. They don't own cars. You pay for them to be driven around. That is a huge problem because if you don't have a car payment, you don't pay to maintain your car, you don't pay for gas or insurance because we're paying for it, then why are you telling me what I can and can't do? Beyond that fact, what California's real goal is to completely eliminate internal combustion engines. Like I said before, they want people to go to electric vehicles. They want to control everything. They want everything autonomous. Boy, that sounds like a really bad situation to have all electric autonomous cars. Now, if you're a green person and you love all this technology, which I do, I like some of it, that may sound great to you, but there's a lot of negatives involved too. It almost sounds like a really bad sci-fi movie, and I'm sure you have comments about that. You can put that down below. But the other thing that Trump was saying that I thought was interesting, now first off, I don't believe the cars will run smoother because these cars run pretty smooth right now if you look at some of the new vehicles, which we've reviewed them all. I think one of the things that is important is when CEOs of Ford and GM say that profits are no longer important to investors, that's a huge mistake. That's how you get replaced as a CEO. Because when people invest in your company, they're investing real dollars, expecting to get a return on their investment. So if you're going to take the profits of a company or the lesser of profits to a company and give it all to a charity, that's great. It would be better if you made more money and then gave money to the charity, because then everybody is great and more people will invest in a company, which will increase their stock values, which helps put better product on the road. And as we go on and on, and I don't have to give an economics 101 class, but you get the message. So when California is saying we're going to try and convince other manufacturers to join us, they're getting sheep, people that will not bend, people that don't understand. So President Trump invited 3 manufacturers to come in and sit down and speak with him this week. They did speak. We don't know what they talked about, but we do know by mid-September, the new rules will come out for corporate average fuel economy. That's going to be interesting because he wants to eliminate the EV tax credit. We don't know if that's going to be in the final rule, but that also means he's a big fan of ethanol, which I am not. But if you want to see some information on ethanol, you can check out this video that I've done in the past about how ethanol impacts your engines, your emissions, your fuel systems, and you pay the price. So there's some real problems. So I do agree with some of the things that President Trump is saying about the auto industry, but I'm also extremely frustrated that the auto industry, who I'm a big fan of and a big part of, is giving in to the state of California because they don't want to make a car for every single state. I get that, but one standard for the whole country. So what's the solution to the problem? Well, here's what's going to happen. Mid-September, Trump administration is going to release their new fuel economy standards that they say will be what's in place. I'm sure there will be a lawsuit. It'll get tied up in the courts for a period of time. If President Trump gets reelected, he will win that lawsuit because one state cannot control all the standards for the other 49. That's just the way the Constitution is written. However, if he is no longer the president, you can promise yourself you're going to have high fuel economy cars, which may sound good, but the cost is vehicles get more expensive. People keep their vehicles longer, and there's going to be more regulations and more regulations because California's big thing is to get rid of fossil fuels completely. Remember, there's fossil fuels in your bottle of water. There's fossil fuels in your clothes. There's fossil fuels in everything you're sitting and touching today. There is no way you can eliminate fossil fuels. And for those of you that say, well, I have a vegan car, it's all made of fossil fuels. So let's try to be realistic here. California cannot call the shots for everyone else. And I'm sure you have something to say. All the comments in my social media down below, feel free to comment, and I'm sure you will. Also, check out some of the things we've been up to that's over here, because we love your comments. And I thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.